One of the things about Australia is it's got a lot of these really cool water holes, so much so that this really pretty one is nothing that special. A nice little waterfall in the middle of the jungle. We're here, north of Cooktown, far northern Queensland. Having a little bit of a tour to follow a couple of the really important points of James Cook's voyage of 1770. So join us in a small little skit of northern Australia.
Early in 1770, Captain Cook had sailed up the east coast of Australia, not really sure what he's seeing. And in June he sailed around this bluff, hit a reef and needed to pull in for some repairs into Cooktown in what's now far northern Queensland. June 1770 he was here, and now we're going to go and have a look at where he stopped. Cooktown, Queensland. You know, sometimes we do forget just how much more there is to Australia than Sydney and Melbourne. I mean, look at this place just outside Cooktown. About 40 k's south of here on the 11th of June 1770, Captain Cook struck rocks with the Endeavour and hauled it so badly they needed to pull into what's become Endeavour River here in Cooktown. But to get the Endeavour off the rocks, off the reef, they needed to jettison a lot of heavy things, including this anchor and that cannon, originally from the Endeavour in 1770. After the Endeavour struck rocks on the 11th of June, James Cook and the bark Endeavour made its way here to what's now Cooktown and anchored here from the 17th of June until the 4th of August 1770, being the first white European settlement in Australia. Here in Cooktown.
On to Malande, to a rummy. Off to Malande, to a rummy.
Captain Cook wrote in his diary that at first glance Indigenous Australians here were a rancid people. And then he wrote, after meeting with them and speaking with them and trying to trade with them and them not wanting anything that Captain Cook had, he turned around and said they've actually, as a people, reached a level of happiness and contentment in their life, and they were not missing any of the things that they didn't have. So rather than being a hopeless people, Cook ended up saying they were people that needed admiration because they had reached a level of contentment in their society and community that Europeans didn't have. Here's something for you Europeans that say Australia has no culture. Modern anthropologists will tell you that modern humans settled in Australia about 50,000 years ago, which is earlier than humans got to Europe. And some of this rock art here has been dated to over 35,000 years old, and the carvings underneath it even older. So for you Europeans, Indigenous Australia is the oldest continuing living culture in the world. So don't tell me again that your culture is older than ours, or that Australia has no culture. We do. And it's much, much older than Europe. This is Albany Island, up near the northern tip, Cape York, and it's just one of these stunning places in Australia. Beautiful blue waters, palm trees, sensational.
In my sweetest memory,
Doesn't get much better in life than under a fresh mango tree with blue waters lapping around you and the fresh mango. We're coming up Crocodile Creek. This is John, he's our guide, boatman, fantastic bloke showing us around. Say hi, John.
Hi. Hi, John.
Hi, John. This is the northernmost creek in Australia. We are slightly south of Cape York Peninsula tip. This is some of the most remote but beautiful part of Australia. You've got to come. Meet John.
I've been to cities, big and small, concrete jungles, people crawl. Nothing compares to the beauty of my island home.
Here we are, northernmost point on the Australian continent. It's taken a while, but now we've done all four. I would have done the southernmost in Wilson's Promontory when I was about 10. I did the easternmost about 30 years ago when I was about 18 or 19. I did the westernmost about a year ago up near Lafitte. And now, 2015, nearly the end of it, northernmost part of Australia. Getting to Possession Island is not easy. You've got to get a little, well, we've got a 5 metre tinny runabout to get us over here. It's about a 45-minute journey by boat from Horn Island. This can here commemorates the fact that Captain James Cook landed here in 1770 to claim all of Australia for King George III. That's why it's called Possession Island, on August 22nd, 1770. See, Australians, when they think of the claiming, they think of Arthur Phillip raising the Australian flag, raising the British imperial flag in Botany Bay in 1788 when the colony was first founded. But the possession was taken August 22nd, 1770. Let's get to the highest point where Captain Cook was. He was a lieutenant back then, or lieutenant, being in the Navy. And I'm a little hot and sweaty. Imagine what he would have been in his little red tunic. I gotta tell you, I love doing shit like this. Oof. Look around. According to James Cook's own diary, it was at this exact spot where he planted the flag and claimed the entire east coast for King George III. This is the place where Australia formally became part of the British Empire. Paul Osborne, Sarkisaronian, Donald Blaney. You'd love this spot. So few Australians come here because it's so hard to get to. And there's no plaque here on the spot. There is that little monument just down on the hill. But Captain Cook stood here in 1770 and claimed all of Australia. Let me show you a 360-degree view from the top of Possession Island. And think about this. This is one of the few places in the trail of Captain James Cook where you can go and stand and look out upon a view that has not changed one iota. What you see in this 360-degree view is exactly what James Cook would have seen in 1770. 245 coming up to 246 years ago. Lieutenant James Cook, Royal Navy, later Captain James Cook, at 4 p.m. anchored his ship, the Endeavour, just there, rowed ashore, and by 6 p.m. he planted a flag here. He fired 3 volleys of gunshots, according to his diary, and the Endeavour down there fired 3 volleys in return. And with those 6 volleys, this entire continent was claimed on behalf of King George III, and 300 or more Indigenous Australians were dispossessed. And there's an irony that just over there, Murray Island, the home of Eddie Mabo, the home of the Mabo decision, that in 1992 put to end the notion of terra nullius, land belonging to no one, which is the legal justification used by Cook and Co. to claim Australia. So within this short distance, possession and native title, in this short distance you have a summary of 250 years of Australia's history, and then reach beyond that 50,000 years to the oldest continuing living culture in the world, Indigenous Australia. It's becoming quite normal in Australia now, before major speeches, to pay respects to the Indigenous people, the custodians of the land and their elders. And normally what happens is, wherever you are, you find out who the Indigenous community is and pay respect to that group of people on the land you're standing on. But given this is Possession Island, and given this is where Captain Cook claimed possession of all of Australia, we should recognise all Indigenous Australians. So here on the point where Captain Cook claimed Australia for King George III, I'd like to pay my respects to the elders and the custodians of all of Australia. Pay respect to their elders, both past and present, and their leaders, and recognise the Australian Aboriginal people as the custodians of the land upon which I stand, and the custodians of all the land that Captain James Cook claimed while standing on this point in 1770.
Wales. I've been to Queensland, I've been to New South Wales. Makes no difference where I go.
My birthday, day before St Andrew's Day,
I get those old
St Andrew's Church, Coconut Island.
I've been to Adelaide, I've been to Darwin too. Canberra doesn't serve me, even Perth gives me the blues. Going back to TI, back to the place where I belong. Ain't no dragon's gonna get me as long as I have you.
Bardu Island airstrip in Bardu Island, far north Queensland, Torres Straight.
Wherever you may go, folks will always greet you with a smile and say hello.
Gold slit trenches at the end of the runway at Horn Island. Now, Horn Island was the second most attacked point in Australia in World War II. Over 500 bombs dropped here, ships sunk by both mini-submarines and by sea mines. Not many people in Australia know that.